All right. Hey, everyone. It's Billy Carson, a.k.a. Forbidden Knowledge. I have my great friend, Jason Shurka here. Jason is the founder of Unified TV, and he is the spokesperson for the light system. So we're going to go deep into some metaphysical, spiritual technology today and talk about some great things, amazing topics. So what's going on, Jason?
I'm doing well, man. It's great to see you again. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Good to see you back, man. I know you've had a lot going on. It's just glad to have you. Good to have you back on online and for people to hear your voice because you have so much inspiration and things to talk about. And so I kind of noticed when the algorithm changed a little bit. I was like, "Where's Jason?" And so you can feel it, man, which is powerful. That your impact is that powerful online. The algorithm. I recognize that you were off for a minute there, but glad to have you back.
Yeah, as you know, and I know we spoke about this offline, my father passed away earlier this month. So it's been crazy and beautiful in a weird way at the same time, because as you know, going through that experience with both of your parents, I don't know what your experience is, but it allowed me and gave me the opportunity to be closer to him in a way while not being with him physically. And it's something I'm navigating, but he wanted me to do what I'm doing, and he loves everything that we're doing here. So I'm doing it in his honor.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's great because I know you were close. It was like your best friend too. So I understand, and I'm glad that he really was a big part of your thought process and doing what you do, and you are helping to change the world, my friend.
100%, 100%.
Oh, yeah, man, beautiful. Have you seen what's going on underneath the pyramids at Giza?
Dude, I love that you brought that up, because I know you're all about that. I've been talking about that. I put out the Pyramid Code document 5 years ago. We turned it into a series on Unified TV as well.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because just a few days ago, the Redacted channel on YouTube actually brought me on to speak about it, because 5 years ago when I came out with this document, everybody's like, what the hell is wrong with you? There's something wrong with you. You're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. Because in the document, it literally says, when you go underneath the pyramids, there are certain chambers and hidden basements, 2 of them, where there are certain things that are buried beneath there, deep underground, that will come to light in the future. And the future, I guess, in that case meant 5 years from then.
Yeah.
But it's funny because everybody called me crazy, and I had this feeling of, you got to do it because it's true. And I felt in my heart, and everybody said, if it was true, we would have known about it already, because we have all this technology. And now we just found out that we didn't have all the technology, and there's new technology to find certain things. So I think this is the beginning of something much bigger.
Oh, it's going to be huge. I mean, and you were a kind of a prophet in that area. I was kind of a prophet in the area. I had read the Emerald Tablets, and I believed what it was telling me, that there was something deep beneath the Great Pyramid. And in my book that I wrote actually 5.5 years ago, I show a depiction of the underground chamber, rendering of it, basically, of these halls that are down there and these columns that go deep beneath the Giza Plateau underneath the pyramid. And again, same thing. People, this is ridiculous. We would have known about it. Ground penetrating radar, blah, blah, blah. And here we go. Now they use this new type of resonance from space, from a satellite, this new SAR technology, where they took a 10 gigahertz band beam frequency that was 3 centimeters wide, that allowed it to detect minute vibrations in the earth. And then it sends that data back. And these supercomputers today are so amazing. It's able to differentiate between solid matter and space, and to create and render an image for you, which is just mind-boggling. Yeah. This discovery is like the next greatest thing since, I don't know, man. I'm trying to think what happened greater than this before this, that evidence-wise of an advanced civilization. I really don't know.
Yeah, and I think what will come next after this becomes more normal to people is what people aren't looking at right now. The pyramid itself, it's, as you know, not just rocks built on top of each other as a tomb. There are certain healing properties to it, in the shape of it, in the geometry of it, in the proportions of it, creating specific frequencies. And when we learn that from the actual geometry of the pyramid and how they built it, we can start integrating that into newer technologies that we start building now to replicate what they did thousands of years ago, because they knew what they were doing. That's part of what I'm doing today with literal pyramid-shaped technologies in direct proportions of the Great Pyramid of Giza on a smaller scale. And people look and they're like, well, what's the relevance? Is it just because it looks nice? And the answer is yes and no. Yes, it looks nice, but there's this truth behind it, and this mystical understanding behind it, understanding how energy moves when you put it through specific geometric patterns that will help the healing mechanism of the body.
Absolutely. And this light technology, I took a look at it on your website, which will show everyone a depiction of it here as an overlay. It's amazing because it's really beautiful art turned into healing technology. That's what I love about it the most.
Yeah.
And I took a look at, years ago at the structure or the shape of a tetrahedron, which is what we're talking about here. And in the tetrahedron shape, they did some experiments, like in Russia was one of the very first places to document this. They took crops of the same type of plant, and they put some on the outside of the pyramid, and they built a pyramid themselves. And on the inside of the pyramid, like a greenhouse pyramid, they actually planted the crops there. And the crops on the inside were much larger and more abundant than the crops on the outside. And then it also tested them on a cellular level, and they saw that there was a definite difference in the quality of the plants on the inside of the pyramid versus the one on the outside, proving that a tetrahedron shape has a direct effect on biology, which is incredible. And that's the technology you have.
Correct. So what we did with the light system that you're talking about is pretty unique because it's taking a technology that's been around for decades already. And what the light system did was just kind of reconfigure it to add certain benefits to what it already does, which we could speak about. But the shape that you're talking about of the pyramid structure itself, which is just one of many different designs that we offer all around the world now, it's created in such a way to move light in a coherent way, even more so than it was before. So that's why, and that's really what inspired the pyramid design behind it. And when you're looking at it, what you're looking at is multiple different things. You're looking at what's called linguistics. So Dr. Masaru Emoto, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
So for anybody who doesn't, he did the water experiment, understanding and really hypothesizing, and he ended up proving it. What is the impact of my thoughts, my intentions, my emotions, my words on my environment around me? And what he found was, and it sounds crazy until you look at the actual study and the findings of the study, but as you know, he found that when you have certain positive intentionality, thoughts, words, emotions towards something, that something actually changes its structure, like water, for example. So if I were to take 2 cups of water and really put negative intentionality towards one and positive intentionality towards another, scientifically speaking, and don't ask me how it works, it's all on the base of energy, but we know that it works because we see the actual study. The negative intentionality water will have a molecular structure that's very distorted. And the positive intentionality water will have a molecular structure of water that's very coherent. And the reason why that's so important is because we are made up of over 70% water. So if I can bring in positive intentionality, positive linguistics, words, in constant communication with the water in your body 24/7, well, the water in your body will start restructuring itself, allowing energy to move in a coherent way, allowing for health as opposed to dis-ease. Because disease is really just a dis-ease or a lack of energetic flow in the body. It gets stuck in distorted pathways. So when you make those pathways coherent, you create coherency in the body as well. So when you're looking at those screens that you saw in that pyramid and the bigger units, what you're looking at scrolling beyond the color therapy and all the things that are working in that technology is called linguistics. And it's a set of certain linguistics, affirmations that you actually have control of yourself that basically interact with your body 24/7 so long as you're around it. So I have it around my office, in my office, around my desk. I sleep around it all the time because it's doing exactly what writing love does on your water bottle to your water, but in a much more complex way and in a much more effortless way because you don't have to do it yourself. It's doing it for you.
Yeah, that's amazing. So it seems like this technology is creating the perfect situation for your body to help heal itself.
Exactly. It's creating an environment for your body to synchronize with. And that's really what it comes down to. And it works through many different aspects like polychromatic light therapy. So it's using different wavelengths of light to interact with the body, rebalance certain organs in the body, using the linguistics to help rebalance the water in the body. Using the alignment of electromagnetic fields to create toroidal fields, coherent electromagnetic fields for your body to synchronize with. And all of that is in essence based on the idea of the law of synchronization with your environment. Meaning, if I put you, and this is scientific because there's a lot of evidence showing this. People who live closer to cell phone towers have higher rates of cancer.
Yeah.
And the reason why that's true, because we know it's true, statistically speaking, is because the cell phone towers are working on a specific frequency that are not compatible with the human body. So it
True.
creates a distortion. So they're synchronizing with frequencies that are incompatible with the body, creating a dis-ease of energy. But the exact opposite is true as well. If I can create an environment that is energetically coherent, energetically balanced, your body synchronizes with that. And it's no longer a miracle of why people are experiencing so many amazing results around the world. So that's what the light system does. That's what people can experience at centers all around the world as well.
Wow, amazing. And by the way, we have a link to the light center equipment right underneath this video. So you can click the link and you can go there, read up all about it. And if you're interested in it, you can actually get one and bring it to your home. I have it shipped to your home.
If you want to try it before you do, there's about 500 centers around the world right now, 55 countries. All you have to do is go to that website, and on the centers tab, it will take you to Unified Healing, which is the network of centers, to see where the nearest one is to you. So you could try that. You could try a lot of different things. But the most important thing is the educational aspect, understanding what is this built on? How does it work? Why does it work? Because when you understand that, you could start implementing things in your life as well that will change your life as a whole, like grounding, right?
Yeah.
Standing on this earth with no shoes on and having an electrical current flow from the earth to your body, exchanging ions back and forth. So when you do that, you actually have more flow in the body, and that's been shown to reduce inflammation. The educational booklet also talks about food, the proper foods to eat for higher vibrational living, to bring more light into the body. Foods that have more water and less matter are foods that will bring more light in your body. So there's all these different things that we can learn, but it really ties back to understanding we are our own healers. It's enough with this world of take this pill, there are a million different side effects, and that's all you got. That's not all you got. And that world is slowly, I wish it was faster, but slowly dissipating. It's moving into the past because people are seeing that alternative ways of doing things are not really alternative. They're the base of what Ad Believe was based on in the first place.
Absolutely. We're returning to what we used to do versus this substitution, this toxic substitution that's been giving us, that's been forced down our throats literally, and has poisoned us and enslaved us and locked us into this eternal loop of relying on these medicines and these prescriptions coming from the doctors and believing that the doctors are totally right and correct in their assumptions. This takes us back to a homeostasis level of understanding of becoming healthy. And I love what you say about the dis-ease. Being out of sync puts our body in dis-ease. Disease actually becomes disease. And if you have disease for too long, you end up pushing up daisies. So you got to get to the point where we remove the dis-ease from the equation to avoid those last two steps, because those last two steps are not good. And so, this technology, man, it seems really amazing. Was this the brainchild of just realizing all of these ancient, all this ancient wisdom? How did this come about?
So this is not my creation. This is something that we have the license to exclusively all around the world now for the next couple of decades, essentially. But this was created back in the 80s and 90s by a man named Robert Religa. So Robert Religa was the guy that created it. He was simply a programmer. The man was not a healer or a doctor in any way whatsoever. He had an idea. It was inspired by him studying ancient texts for many different aspects of the world. And his idea, that actually had more benefits than he thought, his idea was, how do we create something where what he wanted to do was bring the wisdom from those ancient texts from, ancient India and ancient Chinese texts and things like that. How do we take that and help people download that information without having to actually study it? That's part of the linguistics of what he programmed into this technology. So it started without color. It started in black and white, based on Dr. Masaru Emoto's work, before Dr. Masaru Emoto even came out with his findings in the late 90s, I believe.
Wow.
And then, they added color, because then color therapy became a piece of it. But now, if through different configurations, just like every amazing invention. It's
Mhm.
intended for one or two things, and there are like 8 other things that come out of it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of evolved in terms of our understanding of it, adding
Mhm.
certain things like the pyramid shape, for example. That's
Yeah.
a really positive thing to be able to add. But I want to touch up on something because, everything we're saying here is beautiful, but
Yeah.
it's theory until people can actually experience it in real life.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure people understand that a lot of people have experienced these technologies in real
Mm.
life, and the testimonials are insane. You're
Mm.
talking, Billy, about, children that have
Mhm.
autism that were nonverbal
Yeah.
became verbal. They were able to speak,
Wow.
which is unheard of, with no
Mhm.
drugs, with no extra therapy. That in
Mm.
addition to that, people with anywhere from back pain to bad eyesight, seeing that eyesight reversed, having their hair grow, becoming thicker, having
Mhm.
more mental clarity, all
Mhm.
losing weight, overcoming diabetes. And
Mm.
it's not a medical technology. It's not
Mm.
something that's coming and saving you. You're the one that's doing it. As we said earlier, it's you that are your own healer. It's creating an environment to synchronize with so
Mhm.
your body can do what it does best with, which is heal itself. But I
Right.
really want to point out those testimonials because it's incredible in terms of what
Mhm.
people are seeing. And I always say, go and try it at the very least. See
Yeah.
what it has to offer you at one of those centers at unifiedhealing.com. And from there, when you have your own experience, you want to bring it to your home, God bless you. Use that
Mhm.
link and go bring it to your home so you can be around
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah. This is amazing. As I look into the technology, I can see how scientifically how a lot of it can actually work on the human body.
Yeah.
The first thing, of course, being the noticeable thing is the colors, the color patterns, right? So, what are colors? What is our perception of color? Our perception of color is perceiving a specific frequency. I
Correct.
don't know if people realize that, but colors, when you look at something and you can recognize it as a specific color, you're detecting a frequency, right? And the cones in our eyes have been set up in a way that it can detect specific frequencies. Now, not a vast amount because we only get 1% of the light spectrum or less. However, what we can see is still incredible, right? We have HD 4K. We're looking at the world in 12K or whatever. So it's still amazing, but there's much more behind that veil. But the fact that it has this color technology in it, it's and you understand that frequencies are healing. They're using frequencies to heal cancer and all kind of other diseases now. And so now this is one part of the frequency, just as in the color alone, right?
Yes.
And then you have the does it have languages in there?
Yeah, so your linguistics is pre-programmed linguistics where you can choose from many different things. You can choose from a Zyto program. Zyto is a very big diagnostic tool to help
Mhm.
the body actually reintegrate and rebalance itself.
Mhm.
There's a program called World Peace and Harmony. The
Mhm.
beautiful part of that is beyond just the program itself, there is a function on the system called an intentionality function where
Mhm.
you can enter up to 64 characters of what you're looking to achieve. So let's say I'm looking to achieve, abundance and overcoming addiction. You write that in there, and the software works in a beautiful way. It will actually reprogram itself and
Mhm.
enter certain affirmations within the already pre-programmed linguistics that will target what it is that you're looking for. Now, just like we know with Dr. Masaru Emoto's work, the word or the phrase overcoming addiction
Mhm.
is a different geometric formation in terms of what it creates energetically speaking than achieving peace, let's just
Right.
say. So
Mhm.
they're both positive,
Yeah.
but they're different energetic signatures that will have a
Yeah.
different outcome in the body. And that's the power of intentionality that was scientifically proven. But
Yeah.
on the color aspect of what you're talking of, just to add something to that, because everything that you said, I agree with
Yeah.
wholeheartedly. It's scientific. There's evidence for all of it.
Mhm.
Beyond the fact that color is a frequency, it's a wavelength, essentially.
Yeah.
The difference between red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet is a wavelength. Well, each organ in the body has an optimal frequency that it operates on when it's in its optimal state. So
Mhm.
your heart has an optimal frequency that when you take that frequency and you convert it into nanometers, it
Mhm.
will look like the color green. So
Mhm.
green foods or songs that
Mhm.
operate in whatever the green nanometer on the spectrum is, when you translate that into hertz or sound, there are songs that will help rebalance the heart and the lungs, because that's your green frequency, if you want to call it that. Your digestive system operates on the optimal frequency that we see as yellow. So yellow foods are really good for that. The sun is really good for that. Red is your blood flow, your skeletal system, your muscles. So pay attention. Things like cherries, cranberries, beets, all of those things are very good for blood flow, and they're anti-inflammatory specifically. So when we see that and we understand color as a medium, as a modality to help the body heal itself, because that's what red light therapy is and blue light therapy is, that even hospitals are using today. Well, that's exactly how this works. You're using different wavelengths to interact with the body, for the body and specific organs to synchronize with. So the green will help rebalance the heart. The red will help rebalance the blood flow and the skeletal system and the muscular system, and inflammation in the body. The blue will help rebalance your thyroid and help you with better communication, clearer communication. The yellow will help with your digestive system, and on an emotional level, it will help with guilt and grief, for example. So there's a whole map for this. We can go on and on forever, but it's the idea behind it of how this all works that it's very important for people to understand, because I don't want people to do what they did with pills, right? You do not know how the pill in your hand works. You just take it because the expert says it works. And we know in some cases, like vitamin D supplement, it does work. It does help. But nobody knows the mechanism by which it works. So my goal with this technology is to teach the mechanism by which it works, so people can understand it and leave empowered, instead of leave disempowered and say, well, Jason said so, you know?
No, facts. This is great. That was a great and phenomenal breakdown. And just going back to the linguistics aspect, you know, through my study of languages and ancient texts, you discover that letters and words have power, right? So you know a little bit of Hebrew, right?
Yep.
Okay, so the Hebrew letters have numbers attributed to them.
Correct.
Mathematical numbers. So there's power within the actual letter itself. There's value within the letter. In more modern times, you know, words are not as powerful as they were back then, but still they do have power. And so understanding that you've introduced this linguistic aspect to this, allowing the actual words, but those words have intentions behind them. And so those intentions now become something that affects the world around it. And again, Dr. Masaru Emoto proved that when you speak to the water, you know, I hate you, and then take a look under the microscope of a droplet from that I hate you jar, it's malformed. It didn't even crystallize. Correct. So by putting these positive affirmation or the linguistics in there that are going to send out this linguistic healing, it's incredible, because it doesn't matter where the word comes from. The word is the word. The body and the universe is going to pick up on it. And the body's made of water. And we know that it had linguistics had a direct effect on the water. And our bodies are made of about 70% water or so, somewhere in that range. And so it's going to have a direct effect on our bodies. So that's just brilliant that it's got the wavelength aspect, it's got the linguistic aspect, and then it has the magnetic field. Is it electromagnetic?
So interestingly enough, we did a test today. We've done them before, but I recorded it today. And we took a trimeter to check the EMFs off of it, because everybody was saying, well, you know, it's still a form of like a computer. So there must be negative effects of EMF radiation. So we took the trimeter and we put it towards an iPhone, came up to like 65, very high. Took the trimeter, put it against the computer screen, this one specifically, the one that I'm on. It came up to like 50, also very high. Wow. We then went to the technology and we put it against the screen, 0.
Wow. Amazing.
So there are fields that it's creating, because everything has a form of electromagnetic field to it, no matter what it is. But there are detrimental and productive forms of that, because you are one big electromagnetic field. The question is, are you emanating negative radiation, or are you radiating something that's in coherency with this planet, in coherency with life as a whole? So the point of the test was to show, and I'll send this to you right after this show, it's to show that the way that the technology is built actually helps to nullify the negative and basically counterproductive electromagnetic electric field radiation while
Mm.
still creating a field, because at the end of the day, those words and affirmations have an energy to it that do create a field. But it's a
Mhm.
field that the trimeter is not going to be measuring. The trimeter is measuring a specific type of field for those
Mhm.
detrimental radiation waves. In
Yeah.
this case, there are fields that are interacting to create coherency, but it's coherent and compatible fields with the body.
Wow, that's amazing. This is amazing technology. I can really see now scientifically how this can have a direct positive effect on the human body
Yep.
and how it can actually encourage the body to begin to help heal itself. I can see things like inflammation, which is one of the biggest problems everyone has is inflammation, right? You
Yep.
combine this technology along with grounding, maybe inflammation is leaving your life, right? I can also see how malformed cells, like you call them cancer and things like that, could be your body could be assisted with this. Not that this is healing it, but your body is put into a coherency or a vibration that allows itself to fight this illness and to heal itself. It just makes a lot of sense. I see that there's so many things that the human body can actually benefit from this. And even if you're healthy, I can see this as being a great technology to use to maintain health. So
100%.
this is phenomenal. Don't wait till you get sick. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. You want to, and you don't even need, like, thank God I'm not sick. I use it
Yeah.
every day. You
Mhm.
want to be around that. You want to be around positive energy. You want to be around coherent energy. Forget the fact that it prevents illness, and really forget about prevents illness. It promotes health. Forget
Yeah.
about that. It's also when you are more aligned, everything you do is better. You're happier, you're healthier, you can give more, you can love more, you can do better in business, you can have better relationships. Coherency is life. And
Mhm.
life is something that we want to live when it's good. But to do that, you need coherency to make it happen.
Yeah, for sure. Does it take up a lot of space in the house or the office?
Depends which one you get. The pyramid has a base of about 25 inches. So, no,
Wow.
not so much, but it is all in the direct proportions on a smaller scale of
Mhm.
the Great Pyramid in Giza. So, that's
Wow.
really important. The bigger systems do take up more space, but depending on what people are looking for and what they want,
Mhm.
there are various different ways to configure it. It's
Mhm.
not much. It's like each rack is about 4, maybe 5 feet wide.
Mhm.
Think of it like a whiteboard that's 4 or 5 feet wide, and there's
Mhm.
2 of them facing each other.
Gotcha.
So now you have synchronized light facing each other, creating a collision, and
Mm.
that collision now creates a charge that your
Yeah.
cells can become charged by, because that's another
Mhm.
aspect of health. If you
Yeah.
have enough energy in your cells, you cannot get sick, because sickness and disease only exists in depleted energy of cells, when cells don't have enough energy to function. But if you're
Mhm.
giving the cells energy and charging them optimally over and over and over again consistently, it's not even about fighting disease. The disease cannot live there because it's not the proper environment to live in.
Gotcha. Makes a lot of sense, man. You're talking about empowering the mitochondria inside the cell, which is
Exactly.
the battery of the cell. And once the mitochondria is empowered and it's got its source proper, then everything else functions properly. And like you say, there's almost no reason to even be ill once the mitochondria is fully powered and has a great power source. So it makes a lot of sense that if you're consistently charging up the mitochondria, keeping it very strong, that the body is allowed now to do what it does best, to protect you and keep you alive.
100%. I'd love to get you a pyramid. We'll work on that soon so you can have one
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, that would be amazing, man. That would be phenomenal. I'd love to have one. I'll put it right here on this desk and do a whole podcast on it and talk about it,
Awesome.
because I'm very excited the fact that you utilize the dimensions and scale down of the pyramid, because the pyramid itself scale is 432. So 43,200 times up, you have the pyramid. The pyramid at Giza can fit inside the Earth. So the
Yes.
Earth itself is also at 432, which is a great frequency to be under.
It's amazing, amazing stuff. I
Yeah.
look forward to seeing people have this all around the world even further than it already is. And
Mhm.
again, for anybody that wants to try it, there are centers all over the place, unifiedhealing.com. You can go see that, find a center near you. There's one right next to you as well, all
Mhm.
over Florida, all over the US, all over the world. And try it, see what it does, take it from there. And I see a lot of people right now bringing it into their homes. So it's pretty awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Great, man. We'll keep all the links will be in the caption of this video and the caption of this audio wherever it is. And anything else you want to tell the people where they can find you, or of course we know unifiedhealing.com, but anything else you want to tell the people?
I mean, my website, jasonshurka.com. I'm on Instagram, The Real Jason Shurka, YouTube, Jason Shurka, Unified TV, as you know. And shout out to your platform, Forbidden Knowledge TV. I love what you're doing. Keep
Thank
up the
you.
good work. A lot of people, they're like, aren't you guys like competitors and like I'm like, no, dude, we work together. That's how you make things big. So God bless
Exactly.
you with what you're doing. I'm very, very happy for you. And if there's any way that I can support, I'm always here as well.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man. And thanks for hopping on today to give us this
Thank you, brother.
knowledge.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Peace.